Hi everyone, I'm so excited to show you guys the new learning kits that Cricut has released. So today I'm going to do the vinyl learning kit. On the back here it tells you everything that you get. You're going to get smart removable vinyl, 4 sheets, white, red, maize yellow, and ocean blue. Smart permanent vinyl, you're going to get again 4 sheets, black, white, party pink, and blue. Smart shimmer vinyl, 2 sheets. It's permanent and it's gold and purple. You're going to get smart vinyl matte metallic, the silver. It's very pretty and very shiny. You're going to get 8 12 by 12 sheets of transfer tape, standard grip, and then 2 of the strong grip for that shimmer vinyl over here. And then the tools, you're going to get a weeder and the small scraper. And we are going to go through the learning plan in Design Space together. Now, as you can see, this is open, but I have not actually taken anything out of the package yet. I have not opened the learning plan. We are going to do this together, start to finish. Normally I will go through and I'll look at things first and I'll make sure I'm aware of everything, but I figured if you guys are going to learn, why don't I learn with you? I think that if there is something that comes up that is confusing to me, obviously it will be confusing to you guys because I've been doing this for a really long time, so it'll be good to troubleshoot together. So I wanted to do that together. So I'm going to switch over to my Design Space and we are going to do it together. So now if you've ever watched one of my tutorials, you know you can follow my mouse using this little indicator here. So the learning plan is conveniently located up here, but it's also under your hamburger menu over here in the upper left hand corner, learning plan. Now please note that if your country is set to United States, then you will see the learning plan, otherwise you won't. This is United States only. It is also computer only. It is not available on the mobile apps. That's just because of the layout of it, so it may be adapted in the future. I don't have that information. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the learning plan. Now it's going to ask me if I'm ready to learn, which I always am, and we're going to start with the basics. Welcome to Cricut, make your first project, edit text and attach objects, and search for images. And that's all great. We want all of that. So then what we're going to do is learn more about materials. So we are doing the vinyl one today. I will be doing the paper one probably tomorrow, and the iron-on one is not available until December 1st. So as soon as I have that in my hands, I will be doing that one, and I know that's what everyone's most excited about. And I love that down here we have other ways to learn. So if you can schedule a 30-minute one-on-one call with a Cricut expert, which is amazing. You are already in the group, so you know how to find us there. Our live workshops, if you have not checked them out, not only do we have 101 and 102 to learn some of the basics in Design Space, but we also have one to learn how to make paper flowers, a card making class. We have an iron-on class to teach you how to make t-shirts, all of that exciting stuff. So I really highly recommend checking those out. They're amazing. They're live on Zoom. You can ask questions, and maybe you'll see me there in the chat. And then you have on-demand courses, which is our learn.cricut.com if you've already checked it out. If you haven't, definitely do that. They're small, quick videos and courses that take everything step by step to really help you learn. They're amazing, so I highly recommend those. Okay, so for the vinyl one, we can shop the learning kit, which I don't need to do because I already have it. And then we are going to head straight to our video intro to vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to click that. And let's see how long this is. It's about 1.5 minutes. So
in this video, you'll get an exciting preview of what you can expect.
We'll kind of scrub through here, and it's just showing you what comes in the learning plan, and just shows you a little bit about how vinyl works, how you need transfer tape. A lot of people don't realize that you do need transfer tape. If I was doing like a small little decal, I wouldn't even worry about transfer tape, but if I'm doing a bigger one or something relatively bigger, transfer tape's a must. And most people don't realize that, but it's absolutely a must. So make sure that you have that. Okay, so we are done. And then we're going to cut and apply a vinyl decal. Here we go. Okay, So we're going to click that, resize an image, then cut a Cricut Cutie decal using Smart Vinyl, which if you know me, those are my favorite. So, okay, we are going to do that, and it tells you what you'll need. You're going to need an Explorer 3 or Maker 3 because we are using Smart Vinyl. Then we are going to learn how to resize, how to use a Smart Vinyl and transfer tape, weeding and transferring designs. And then we need the Smart Vinyl permanent or removable, transfer tape, weeder, scraper, scissors, and a blank, which I didn't think about, so I will have to grab one of those. So we're going to click begin. Okay, so now this pops up. And it's going to navigate this lesson, read and complete each step, then click the arrow at the bottom of each pop-up. So yes, click the arrow now. Perfect. We're going to click that. So this is very, very intuitive, very interactive. It's going to walk you through it. Like, this is very, I'm holding your hand and walking you through it the whole way. So this is really great for a beginner. I really wish that I had this when I was a beginner because vinyl is not easy to use, in my opinion. It is, but it's a learning experience, to say the least. So this is really nice. Okay, in this lesson, we'll resize an image to create a vinyl decal. We pre-populated the canvas with an image of a Cricut Cutie. First, select the image to activate its bounding box. Click and drag any corner to grow or shrink the image. Notice the measurements changing. Resize the image to around 2.4 inches by 3 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. So now there's this little video showing you exactly how to do it, which is really great. A lot of people are confused about the bounding box. It's really easy to use once you learn, but that's really great that they show you. So this is cool. Let's get ready to cut. In the top right corner of your main screen, click the green Make It button as shown above. Remember to also click the arrow below to advance your lesson. Okay, so we're using Smart Vinyl, so no mats needed. We'll select without a mat and then click Confirm. Then this is the Prepare screen. It's a great time to confirm what you'll be cutting. So right here is, after you click Make It, you make sure everything's where you want it to be, it's sized how you want it, click Continue. Then you'll choose your material under the Popular tab, or in this case, we'll check, but it should come up with compatible because we have clicked without a mat, so only compatible materials will show up, which is Smart Materials, and we'll choose Smart Vinyl Permanent. Great job getting prepped. Now we're ready to start using your cutting machine. Remember, use the arrows below to help you stay in sync with every step. Okay, confirm that your fine point blade, which came with your machine, is loaded in clamp B. Load your material into your machine. Using both hands, insert material under guides, then push the flashing load/unload button. And then we're going to press the play button, go button. And then it's going to cut, and the unload button will flash. We'll unload it. Okay, so now you're going to prep for your decal. Use scissors to trim away the material around your cut design. If using black vinyl, set the remainder of the material aside. We'll reuse it in lesson 3. Good to know. I'll use black vinyl. Those little scissors that they're using come in the basic toolkit, and they're by far my favorite. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 pairs right now. They're my absolute favorite. So if you don't have a basic tool set, I highly recommend grabbing one in those little scissors. You can also get the essential tool set, which comes with the paper trimmer too. Also highly recommend. Okay, so choose a corner and use fingers to gently lift and peel away unwanted vinyl from the liner. I do it a little bit differently, so I think that's really going to be great to show you guys when we actually do it, how I do it differently, because it just gives you different options to see what you like best. So for smaller bits of excess vinyl, use the weeder tool to pick and pull unwanted pieces to reveal your design. So I'm going to let that go just because if you've never weeded, it just shows you what we're doing. I know I'm going to show you live, but it's nice to know ahead of time when somebody's saying, oh yeah, you're going to weed it, and you're like, what the heck does that mean? This shows you. That's weeding, removing all of the excess unwanted material. Okay, so we're going to cut a piece of transfer tape about the size of your design. Now this is really important, and I like the way that they're lining it up there because that is sometimes what I do too. I do it a tiny bit. I don't hold it there like that. I'll show you what I do. But that is essentially what I do, measure it up with that. And that's really, really, I like that. But it is important to cut your transfer tape down because it is like staticky. So if it's not closer to the size of your design, you're going to have it all over. It's going to try and stick to everything else. It's a hassle. So cutting it down is one of my top recommendations. Okay, so now we're going to peel the liner off the back of your transfer tape, then cover your entire vinyl decal with the transfer tape. That's just applying it. Then you're going to use your scraper tool, your credit card. You have the scraper tool in the learning kit, so no big deal. You have that on hand. Highly recommend them, the extra large one too. You're going to burnish, which means you're going to rub it firmly. Vinyl's pressure sensitive, so that's how we transfer to our transfer tape and off our transfer tape. And you're going to turn it around and burnish from the back. Slowly peel the back liner, making sure the decal adheres to tape. This is something that people do not often do. So you can see if you have any pieces remaining on the liner, you can just go back and rub it like that. This is how I also remove my transfer tape from the back. Do it both ways, from the front and from the back, because from the back is 10 times easier and you're going to see that. So I think if you guys do it both ways just to see how much easier it is, you're going to be like, oh, why didn't I ever do that? Do it. And you can reuse transfer tape, so save it. You can reuse it a lot. I've used it. I made, I think, 50 badge reels one day, and I used the same piece of transfer tape. It is very reusable. Use it, use it, use it. Okay, so now you're ready to apply your design. Make sure your surface is clean and dry. Then position decal in desired position. This time use your scraper to firmly transfer your decal to the surface. That is because the vinyl is pressure sensitive, so that's what you need to transfer it from, you need that pressure to transfer it to your blank. Now, to clean your blank, now if you're doing like a mug or a cup, something like that, a tumbler, you can use like soap and water, you can use rubbing alcohol, whatever you want to do. So it's depending on your blank surface is what you'll do. But soap and water, like a window cleaner, all-purpose cleaner, rubbing alcohol, all of those are great to use. Okay, so you're going to slowly peel back the transfer tape at a 45-degree angle. If pieces of the decal remain on the tape, press back down and burnish again, and then test peel again. So peel it slowly. Best advice. I should follow my own advice because sometimes I forget. I have been doing this for so long that sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I got this, and then I don't got this. So remember, just peel it slowly. Make sure everything's down. Once decal fully transfers to the surface, you're finished. You resized an image to make a super cute vinyl decal. Okay, and then you can rate your lesson. I'm going to rate it a 5 because I actually think this is really great. I love the little videos. I love the pictures. The very interactiveness of this is really, really, really great. Especially since it breaks it down step by step, because most people that I come across, they're like, oh yeah, I did it. I watched a YouTube video and I paused it 100 times. This, you don't have to pause 100 times. This is basically that step until you continue when you're ready. So it's very, very self-paced while already being done for you. So I think this is really great. I highly recommend this. Okay, exit to learning plan. Okay, so let's see, we'll go back to vinyl. All right, so I'm actually going to go back here because I want to, so I can redo this. So if you like forgot or you wanted to do it again, you can redo it. So I'm going to, so this, okay, so I just clicked that. I didn't know what it would do. And then you click it again. So this is basically like minimizing it. So now I can go and we'll resize it down. So it's at like 2.4 by 3. So you can resize it using the bounding box, which is just these little arrows in the corner. You can see it's got the double-sided arrow so that you know you're resizing. If you hover outside, it gives you the rotate. So you know that's you're rotating. You can also change the size up here, which gets you like the most accurate. I want it exactly 3, not 32. I want it exactly 3 inches high. So that's perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click Make It. I'm going to set this all up. I already have my Maker 3 ready. Without mat, confirm. So after seeing this really quickly, I would go through and read all of these instructions and then go back and do the cut. at the end there, I clicked exit learning plan. I should have just minimized it because it would have left this on my screen and I could have gone through and cut. But this is what my recommendation would be, is to go through and watch each step by step so you know. And then instead of exiting the learning plan, minimize it and then do the cut before we go on to the next step. I love to bake and cook and everything, and so does my husband loves to cook, but he always says, he always starts a recipe and then he's like, oh, I was supposed to marinate this. So this is why I recommend always to read through your recipe or your learning plan step by step before you begin, because like I said, I didn't read through it and then I was like, oh, I forgot a blank. I know I have to go grab one. So this is right here what's going to tell you, like, this is why I recommend walking through it, because even 5.5 years after me doing this, I forgot to bring in a blank. You're going to want to make sure that you just go through. Okay, so we're going to click continue. It's going to, I accidentally clicked that too many times. So it's going to search for my Maker 3. I have it set up via Bluetooth. I'm going to choose browse all materials. So this has favorites and popular. It doesn't say compatible, but when I click browse all materials, that's when it will go to compatible. So I'm going to do smart vinyl permanent, and I'm going to add more pressure because I've had my machine for about 1.5 years now and it does like to have a little bit more pressure. So I'm going to pause you guys here, go grab a blank that I clean really quickly, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to go back to my camera where we open the learning kit together and we go through this process. Okay, so I just grabbed a mug. I have a ton of these in my kitchen. It's from Dollar Tree. It's a couple years old, so they may not sell the exact same one, but this is what I used. And I'm going to show you guys what I use for measuring. This seamstress measuring tape came in a Cricut, I think it's a sewing kit. So I can measure my blank, and like the 2.4 by 3 should fit okay on this. So measure it before you do it. If you want to put it on your machine, you can. That is not my personal design, so that is not what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use that. And actually, I'm not sure what else we're cutting in this class, but I'm going to probably just use the mug over and over, and we'll size everything for that. Okay. So take this out of the box. It slides right out. We have a little, it's taped down here. I'm going to use my True Control knife. If you don't have one, they're amazing. I have like 20. It's a problem. So we're just going to open it up. You'd think I've opened the box before. Okay, so everything is really nicely laid out here. So we have the Smart Guide, Quick Start Guide, Smart Guide, it is smart. And it just tells you to go to design.cricut.com/learning plan. If you have a code, it's there for you to enter. And it's in different languages in case you need it. Okay, so then we have our weeding tool, which has like a protective cover on it because it's super sharp. So remember to take that off. And this is the scraper, the small one. So this is packaged really nicely, which I love good packaging. Anyone who knows me. So there's a Cricut materials cheat sheet for beginners. This is amazing. This is also available on learn.cricut.com in the beginner's guide in the learning library. So you can save it as a PDF to your computer, but you can hang it up in your craft room. I know a lot of members print out helpful sheets and put it in a binder, so whatever you want to do. But this is a really, really, really great resource. It tells you permanent, removable, iron-on, and cardstock, what projects it's great for, what types it comes in, so like solid, glitter, holographic, essential tools and accessories, need to know how to prep, weed, transfer. Permanent vinyl is weather and fade resistant and dishwasher friendly, and want to learn more, and it gives you resources to go to. So again, you can download this on learn.cricut.com, but it also comes in your box. So then everything's packaged really nicely. So you have your strong grip transfer tape. You can tell because it says strong grip transfer tape, but it also has the purple grid lines. And then regular transfer tape just is transfer tape and it has gray grid lines. That's your standard for premium, just permanent or removable. If you're doing the shimmer vinyl, is this right here, the shimmer, which is really pretty, or textured vinyl, that's where you want the strong grip. So keep that in mind. So we've got the matte metallic permanent, the shimmer permanent, the smart vinyl permanent, and the smart vinyl removable. So I'm just going to set this box aside. I'm going to grab out my permanent. And it said if we're using black, so I'm just going to use that. I like to use what they show because I just feel like it keeps it's easier to follow along. Okay, so it's this way. So it goes under these little tabs here. Now it is smart, so we don't need a mat, and we're just gonna butt it up against the rollers and press our load button. It's going to feed it through. Now you'll notice I do have my machine a little bit closer to my wall. The smart vinyl doesn't really need to have a ton of clearance behind it. It should have a little bit more than I'm giving it, but we're cutting a smaller design, so it's not as big of a deal. But if you're using a mat, you definitely need that clearance because your mat can snap. Been there, done that. So keep that in mind. So this is going to cut, and something to keep in mind is it's going to cut really fast because it is a smart material, so it cuts much faster than when cutting regular materials on a mat. I actually did a project over the weekend and I forgot how quickly it cut, so I was like, oh, I'll set it up, and I was like, I'm gonna go switch over the laundry and I'm gonna do this. And I did one thing and I came back and it was already done, and I was like, oh yeah, it cuts really fast. I forgot about that. So it's going to cut super fast. We're already done. If anybody counted that, I wonder how fast it was. So we're going to, you see my design was cut. So we're just going to trim it down here. I just kind of eyeball it. I don't make it perfect. It says we're going to use this later, so we'll set it aside. I'm not going to put it back in the box because I don't need to. I'm going to pull out a piece of transfer tape, and I'm just going to cut that down now. Now I told you earlier that I do basically the same thing that they do, slightly differently. So here's my tip. I line it up, and I'm just going to snip right here and snip right there. And then I'll go back and find those slits and just cut along the line. Now the only difference is I don't hold that piece of vinyl there the whole time because I just find this easier. Whatever works best for you, do it. You can use your paper trimmer. You can cut it down with your True Control knife and a ruler. You can just wing it. It's up to you. Everybody does things differently. That's the great part about it. Okay, so my next tip that I do a little differently, we're going to remove this little cap here from the weeding tool and set it aside. Next tip that I do differently, I don't use my fingers to pull up the corner. I use my weeding tool to pull up the corner to start weeding. Now, you will notice when you start cutting that there's always a 1/4 inch margin around your design, and that's to make sure that if anything isn't perfectly lined up, it's not going to ruin your cut. So you always have a little bit of space in that corner to pull up your design. So that's why I do it this way, because it's really easy to just stick your weeding tool in and grab it. Okay, so we're just going to weed it, and you can see it weeds perfectly and beautifully. It's so easy to weed. And then we're just going to go in and just stick our weeding tool in. Now when I weed, I just take, depends on how you want to do it, but like I can stick it to my self-healing mat here, and I'll just do this and I stick it on the excess, because to me it's just easier. I don't have to worry about it, and this is already sticky, so everything's going to stick to it. Okay, so that weeded perfectly, which is always the best. Okay, so same thing with my transfer tape, except I'll do it from the back. Just pull up a corner with your weeding tool. It's separated. It's hard to see because it's clear. So we'll do this. And this is a smaller piece of transfer tape, so just line it up. eyeball it. You have those grid lines, they help a lot. So we're going to burnish from the front. We're going to burnish from the back. You can do it many times, whatever makes you feel good. And then, remember where I said I don't do this slow? We're going to do it slow. Okay, so you see that this didn't do here, so you have a couple options. You can take your scraper tool and do it again. Or sometimes what I'll do is I just kind of bend it back. Okay, so it did it down here too. So what I do is just kind of, I bend the backing back so that the vinyl kind of pops off. See, like that, and it just sticks back down to the transfer table. Okay, so I decided to make it tricky on us. This is my transfer tape backing, which I'm going to save because this is reusable. So I'm using a curved surface, which is tricky. So I'm going to, I actually did this on purpose because obviously it's going to be easy to do it for a flat surface. For anyone who wants to do it on a curved surface, I decided to give you some tips. So now what you can do is take like your little scraper here and use it as like a crutch, I guess. And then we're going to line this up. We're going to stick it down in the middle first. Now this is probably not going to be perfectly straight because I'm at an angle. We're going to press it down and we're going to go to the right. Now you can see my transfer tape's wrinkling a little bit, but my design is not. Okay, then we're going to go to the left and we're going to press it down. Okay. Now we are going to, because this is pressure sensitive, take our scraper and we are going to make sure our design is pressed firmly down and transferred to our link. And then 45-degree angle, which normally I just pull back like this. Now I did have a few wrinkles because this design was a little bit bigger, but we can kind of take, I have my fingernail, so I can just kind of take that and work them out. It's not a big deal at all. Okay, and we're done. Now if you're doing something like that, that's going to be washed. You want to let it sit for about 24 to 72 hours before washing or using it. Okay, so we're done with that. Okay, so now we're going to head back into Design Space. We're going to click Done. Okay, and we are going to, I'm just going to click through here quickly till we get back to the learning plan. Actually, if we click Learning Plan right up here at the top, that will go away. We can go back down to vinyl. And we're going to work with text and fonts. One of my favorite things. Okay, so now it shows us a picture up here of what we need, but it's also going to tell us, again, what to do down here. So we're just going to need more vinyl and all of that stuff. So we're going to click Begin. Okay, a project already exists on your canvas. I don't want to save it. I'm going to replace it, and we're going to start anew. Okay, so we're going to let that load up. Okay, and we're going to pull out that learning plan, and it's already in lesson 2. To navigate this lesson, we're going to click the arrows. We already know that now, and this lesson will work with text and fonts to create a vinyl decal. First, edit the word in the text box to your name or anyone's name. Okay. To preview fonts, use the font drop-down. The Cricut library includes hundreds of fonts. Many are free. Others require a Cricut Access subscription. We'll suggest a free font, which is great because if you don't have Cricut Access, you can do this project without any concern. Find Poker Night, a font that is easy to read and apply. Use the search bar to find and select it. Fantastic. Now let's change the color of your text to match the smart vinyl you plan to use. That color suits you. Now let's make it. We'll use smart vinyl, so no mats needed. On the prepare screen, you can adjust your image placement before cutting. For this project, no adjustments are needed. You'll choose smart vinyl removable this time, okay? Load your machine into your material, both hands, insert material under the guides, load it. Press the go button. Once it's done cutting, unload it. We're gonna use the scissors to trim away. Choose a corner and use your fingers to gently unwanted, so we're weeding. Even the easiest fonts require weeding. Use the smaller bits of excess vinyl. Use the weeder to pull up all unwanted pieces to reveal your design. Okay, cut your transfer tape, apply your transfer tape, and then apply your cut to your blank. Okay. Peel your transfer tape. Okay, you're done. I'm going to read this a 5 again. I know I skipped through some of that, but we already did it, so okay, so instead of exiting to learning plan this time, we're just going to minimize that. Okay, so names stuff. So we're going to go up to fonts. Now, if you uncheck current, that's going to give you all of the font options. You can see one of my flags over here is green. A child's ear is one of my favorite most used fonts, so I have bookmarked it. If you want to find your bookmarks, you can go over here. That's for Cricut fonts and system fonts, and it will keep them all under bookmarks. Okay, so we're just going to type in poker. We've got poker night. It's free. So once it changes the font over, I'm going to double click on the text. You can see it's all highlighted, and then I'll click exactly where I want to go. So Katie Stuff, that's my name, and I'm going to resize this down a little bit smaller so it fits on my mug. Also, we might be doing other projects. Everything's going on the mug today. So we are going to make sure we have that. All right, and I'm going to pull out my removable vinyl, and they have a blue, ocean blue, which is one of my favorite colors. So that's what I'm going to do because it said choose your favorite color. We are going to click make it. We're going to click without a mat, confirm it. I'm going to click continue. It's going to find my machine. We're going to browse all materials. We are going to find Smart Vinyl Removable. Again, I'm adding more pressure because that's what my machine likes. And we'll head back over to my camera. Okay, so now we're here. We're going to, once again, butt it up and load it. I've got all my little materials over here. Now, where's my, okay, so my little piece of transfer tape should be fine for us to use it again because I made my design small enough to fit on the mug, so that should fit perfectly. So I don't even need to cut new transfer tape. This can just be used again. So you can buy rolls of transfer tape. The Cricut website sells like really big rolls too if you use a lot of it. So, but you get 8 sheets in here, which should be plenty for a while if you're doing any designs 12 by 12 or less. And I try to keep like those bigger sheets for bigger designs, and then I'll cut it up for like smaller stuff. But like I said, you do want to cut it down. It is very important. So if you need to grab more, I highly recommend just grabbing a roll. When the roll comes, you can cut it down or you can keep it on the roll. I usually cut it down per project as needed. I actually did a canvas the other day. It's a 10 by 20 canvas. So I cut my transfer tape down to that afterwards. Unload it. My cute little scissors. So you can see. Can you see? Yep. Okay. So we're going to cut this down a little bit. Set that aside. Now, something I didn't mention, because I'm just setting these aside, the black vinyl says Cricut Smart Vinyl Permanent on the back, and the blue says Cricut Smart Vinyl Removable on the back. You'll also notice that the permanent has green grid lines and the removable has gray grid lines, and that is the same for regular Cricut vinyl. Permanent has green, removable has gray. So just a little fun fact while we go. Okay, now typically when I weed, I'm going to turn on my Bright 360 because it's going to help me. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I weed those little pieces on the inside first, and I stick them to the outside of my vinyl. I'll show you up close. Can you see? As my scraps. So now when I go to pull this off, you can see that my scrap is already on there. So some of this didn't cut through. It cut through, but it is a smaller design, so it's a little clingy. So I'm just gonna push my design out here, and make sure it's stuck to my backing here. Alright, so now it all came off. We're good to go. So again, we're going to take our transfer tape. I've got the little corner that I already peeled up, so it's easier to do. Now you can do two things. You can put, I don't even know what I did the first time because I'm so used to just doing it. You can put this on your backing and put your transfer tape. My self-healing mat is a beast and it has been through everything, and I just stick it right on there. Okay, so now see, I can peel this, but it missed a couple spots. So that's why we're going to flip it over, burnish from the back. That's also when you pull it from the front, that's pulling your vinyl, which can cause more bubbles and stuff. So we have a lot of people saying, oh, how do I avoid bubbles? This is one of the ways that you can help avoid them. Okay, so now we're good. Take my little mug, prop it up with my scraper. We're just going to line it up. Now this is a smaller design up at the top. That's not really going to hit my curve. So I can just lay it down at once. We will take my scraper and we will go, because you can see right there on this F, this one, can you look at the bottom here? You see how it's not fully on there? It looks like it is, but it's not. So that's why we're going to make sure we add that pressure to transfer it. Now another way to avoid bubbles, make sure you burnish really, really well, first of all. But second of all, when you are pulling this back at that angle, like they show us in the video, that also helps you avoid bubbles, because that you're pulling the transfer tape off of the vinyl. There's no risk that you're pulling the vinyl up as the transfer tape is coming off. And that's really important, because as that vinyl lifts and you push it back down, that's where your air bubbles are going to come into play. Saving transfer tape, trash. All right, now we're going to see what the next step is. Guys, I really like this. This learning kit's really nice. I highly recommend this. Okay, so we're going to click done. Now we can go back here, bring it back up, and exit to the learning plan. See, you guys are learning some tips with me. Okay, we'll go back to the vinyl. You guys probably think I'm crazy. I am, just so you know. So now we're going to combine images to create our own custom vinyl decal. So this is really great. I like that it's showing you really how to do things, but then how to do it, create it yourself, because that's what Cricut is, to create it yourself. Okay, so again, what you'll learn, what you'll need, begin. Replace, we don't need that. Okay, we're gonna click our arrows. So in this lesson, we'll combine images to create a vinyl decal. We pre-populated the canvas with 3 images: a bear, his eyes and nose, and a fish. Start by selecting the eyes and nose. Drag the eyes and nose to the bear silhouette so it looks like what's pictured above. That's easy enough. Now, we will need to tell your machine to cut the eyes and nose. First, use your keyboard to press and hold the Command or Shift key. Select the eyes and nose and the bear silhouette. I'm going to give you guys a few tips on that to do it different ways. The way that they're teaching you is how I do it. Okay, so next, to remove the bear's eyes and nose, we'll use a tool called Subtract. Okay, that's under the Combine menu. So cute. They look as if they're expecting something, right? Let's give them a fish. Okay. Move the fish image so it's centered between the paws, something close to what's pictured above. To make this fish part of your decal design, first select both images. Press and hold the Command or Shift key, then select both images. Now we'll use a tool called Unite. When you click it, notice how the design turns a single color. That's because it will now get cut from one sheet of material. Your single color design is now ready to cut. Okay, so we're using Subtract and Unite, which are both under the Combine feature on the Layers panel. Okay, so using Smart Vinyl without a mat, continue. Smart Vinyl, we're using permanent. Let's see what I have for permanent colors left. I have blue. I love blue. It's my favorite color. So we're going to do that again. Okay, so now this is just going to walk you through again how to load it. It's going to cut. We're going to unload it. We're going to weed, apply our transfer tape, all of that fun stuff. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to click through until we get to the end. I actually have, so we're going to use those. There we go. I have some cute little wooden discs, so we're going to use that. Okay, obviously love this. Okay, we're going to minimize and come back to that. Okay, so we're going to drag the eyes and the nose over here. We're going to line it up as best as we can. So that looks good for me. So now you can press and hold your shift key and click it on your canvas. And you can see here in the layers panel, both are selected. You can also click on the layer in the layers panel, hold the shift key and click it on the layers panel. That's normally what I will do because I can see where everything is and I know I'm clicking the right layer. And then your last option is to create a box and drag it around everything and it will select both layers. Now, if you are on a mobile device, you can use your fingers to draw a box, or you can use your finger to press and hold each layer until it's selected. I think it's about 3 seconds you press and hold each layer, but you'll see them highlighted. Once you have the first layer highlighted, I'm pretty sure each layer after that highlights pretty quickly, but it might be those 3 seconds. Okay, so we're going to make sure we have both selected, and we're going to go down to combine, and we're going to subtract, and now that's going to take everything away without having to slice and remove all those extra pieces. Now, the reason that this fish is going to go behind here is because we completed an action here, so that moves it to the front of the layers panel. I'm going to go back quickly and show you guys. You can see beforehand, if I move the fish, you can see it's at the top of the layers panel here. So when I move it, it's on top of the bear. But because I completed an action here, which is subtract, that moves that to the top of my layers panel. So that's why the fish is behind it. So we're just going to kind of line it up. Okay, and we're going to select both. We're going to combine and unite. Now, if you do want to save any of these projects as you're going, you're welcome to. Go ahead and click Save. And you can do Save As in this case, and it will save Vinyl Lesson 1 Combine Images. And honestly, that's how I would save it, because then you know exactly what lesson it came from. Okay, so we're going to click through to make it without a mat, confirm, continue, find my machine. We're doing permanent, more pressure for this gal. And then we're going to go and we are going to load our machine. Permanent, more. Okay, so I'm going to pause you guys quickly. I'm going to grab a couple other mugs just to make sure I have enough because I don't know what else we're doing. So I'm going to pause you guys and we'll come back to my camera. Okay, I got more mugs, and I also thought about it and resized my design to fit my mug. So don't forget to do that. Alright, so I have a yellow mug and a red one. I had all my fall colored mugs. So we're going to cut this quickly and we'll weed it and we'll apply it. And because I did resize my design, we will again get another use out of my transfer tape. So I'm going to use this as much as I can to show you guys, but really I did I think 50 badge reels, and they were layered. So they weren't even just, it was a lot of transferring. And my transfer tape held up. It is definitely amazing, and can be reused and if you're really struggling to transfer stuff, or it doesn't seem as sticky anymore, then you want to get new transfer tape, but use it until it goes. That is my motto. I try not to be wasteful with my materials. I utilize all of my scraps, all of that. I realized too that I had taken this out to use for this image, so I'm still going to do that. My design will fit. Okay, So I'm going to click this, and I do want to show you guys how tiny some of those, let me see if I can do this. You can see how tiny some of those cuts are, and they cut perfectly, which I love. Okay, so this is actually going to be a good one to show you guys. This is where I will take some of these, so these tiny ones are still stuck in there a little bit, so you can stick it to your finger. But this is where I weed out all those little pieces and I stick it over to the side here. And then when I weed off the excess, all of this it's all one piece, all trash, ready to go. So some of these like thinner lines, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just stick them to my finger and throw them in the trash after. It's up to you. Everybody's different how they like to do things. I recommend honestly just checking around, seeing what other people do, and then doing what you're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, or try it and see what you like. But that's my recommendation always, because the only way you're going to find what you like is to try it, and you never know. I don't even know if I ever saw somebody do this. It was just like, oh, makes most sense to me. So I'm sure there are plenty of other people who do it. I just can't remember if I saw this done by somebody else or not. But there are lots of people who do things different ways, and so I always love to see what everyone does. Okay, so now we'll peel our excess around, and I just realized I weeded this incorrectly. So this is always, honestly, I love to make mistakes when I show you guys, because it goes to show that everybody makes mistakes. So I was supposed to weed out the baby bear and not his little face and eyes. So, or his face and ears. So we're gonna do this a little differently. And then I have all these pieces stuck to my finger. I can just take the back of this and try and pull it up. Some of it's still stuck on there pretty well, but for the most part, that should get it up. Okay, now we're just gonna weed this as is, but take it from me, don't weed it that way. I did it wrong. Maybe if I hadn't skipped through that last portion of the learning plan, I would have done it right. Okay, burnish from the back. See, this is what happens when you don't pay attention, so pay attention. Okay, so that weeds perfectly. Trash. And a lot of times what I'll do is I have my self-healing mat here. These are 4 inches, so I can line it up and use that as a guide to help me get this like centered perfectly. So a lot of times I'll just rub it down with my fingers first just to make sure it's good. Then I'll do this, and again, do our 45-degree angle, and you can see no bubbles at all. Okay. Alright, so transfer tape aside to reuse. Move all my tools aside. I have all my tools that I normally use over here, so that's a good place to keep them. I'm going to head back to Design Space and click Done. And we will go back to our little learning plan, exit to learning plan, and see what is next. Go back to vinyl. Okay, work with layers. Ooh, my favorite. Oh, look, they have apply vinyl to a curved surface. I thought I was being all cool jumping the gun, but nope, they have it for us. Of course they do. Okay, so again, what you'll learn, what you'll need, begin, replace. Okay, so working with layers. We're going to let that load. Okay, so in this lesson, you'll learn how layers work together to create the design of your dreams. To get started, select one image from a collection created for this lesson. First, let's search the library to find the image collection we want. Enter search term exactly as it appears below. Vinyl lesson 4. No spaces. Okay? No spaces. Vinyl lesson 4. The number 4, not the word. Okay? And then to narrow down our search, use filters to only show images with more than one layer. Click layers and then filter, then multi. Choose your fave. For demo purposes, we'll use the fish. Note, images that have a green A require a Cricut Access subscription. So it looks like some of the images are free, some require access. So you have options if you have access or if you don't. Then click select image, then add to canvas. Your image choice lands you on the canvas with a black sweater, but you've got options. Notice the layers panel on the right. Let's give your cute creature a more colorful sweater. Click the eye icon next to the layer with the black sweater to turn it off. That just hides it on your canvas so it doesn't cut, but it's still there in your project. To make the new sweater layer visible, click the eye icon next to it. Lovely, that's cozy look. Let's make it. We're going to click make it. No matte, continue, smart vinyl, removable or permanent. We have our options, okay? So load, go, unload. Now onto your second cut. Choose your material if it's different. If it's the same, I'm going to show you guys a little button to click so that you don't have to choose your setting again. If it's the same material. Load, cut, unload. Prep your layers for application. Okay, so cut it down, weed it. Cut your transfer tape. I'm looking at the design this time to make sure I weed it correctly. Remove the liner. Okay, so it's just telling you what we've already done, so we know how to do this already. Burnish decal onto surface. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your first layer down, burnish it, remove your transfer tape. Okay? Now you're going to repeat the same process, but with your second color. So I'm going to let this play out because it's a little bit different. So you're going to transfer that to your transfer tape, burnish it. Now you're going to put on the sweater. So you're going to peel back the liner and position your cut with transfer tape over the first cut so it's aligned. So now this is where it is extremely important that your transfer tape isn't too big, because if it starts clinging down to your blank, it's going to start sticking, and if your vinyl goes down with it, it's stuck to your other vinyl. But you can see how it lines up all easily. Okay, burnish it, peel it at that angle. Okay, this is good. 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to minimize that. Okay, so we're going to go over to images, vinyl, lesson 4, no spaces. I'm trying to remember all of this while I'm talking to y'all. Okay, operation type. No, we were going to layers, and we're going to go to multi, and I'm going to pick, okay, so it's all animals with sweaters. I'm going to pick a cat. We adopted a kitten over the summer, so we're going to do a cat. Now I'm going to, actually his sizing is good for what I'm going to put him on. I'm just going to put him on the other side of that wood round, so this works for me. Okay, so now what we did over here is we hid that black sweater because we don't want a black sweater. We're going to be fun and colorful. Oh, pink, perfect, because we have pink, and that's my daughter's favorite color. My cat is a boy, so I don't know how much he would love pink, but he's a cat, so he doesn't care. Okay, so now we're going to click make it, and we're going to do without a mat, and this time you're going to see there's a blue mat and then a pink mat, or without a mat, but your pink layer and your blue layer. So now whatever one I have selected, so if I select number 2 and I have this highlighted here and I click continue, that's what's going to cut first. So a lot of times people will click that mat just to look at it. That's what's going to cut first. If I want to change it back to the blue one, I just click the blue one. Okay, so I have my, let's see, my Smart Permanent Vinyl. I have my dark blue, so I'm just going to flip that around and use that. And then I have the pink Smart Permanent Vinyl for that cute little sweater. So I'm going to browse all materials, and we are going to pick the Smart Vinyl Permanent, And then because I'm using it for both, I can click this little setting here, remember material settings, and I won't have to choose the material setting again. Now, if I was using a different material, then I would want to reset it, but I'm not, so we're good to go. I'm going to head over to my camera and we will cut this. Okay, so my blue vinyl here, I'm going to do this to hopefully switch over my lighting a little. Okay, so my blue vinyl here, I cannot load this way because I cut down this section. But what I can do is flip it around and do it this way and just reuse the other side. So that's what I'm going to do. And so that's going to cut it, we'll weed it, and then what I will do personally, normally what I'll do, depending on how the layers are set up, I will cut and weed while the pink one's cutting. I'll weed it and transfer it. Now this pink layer is just a small sweater, so it's not going to take long to cut, especially since it's smart material and it cuts so much faster. But if I am doing like a lot of layers and stuff, that is what I'll do. I will start weeding and transferring while I'm waiting for the other one to cut. And that is why sometimes too, I'll switch my layers around and click different mats in the order that I want to cut, because then I can cut my base layer and the layers that go on top of it, I can cut it in the order I want so it matches and works for me. So I don't even need to go and see in Design Space. It's already ready for me to load. So I'm going to start cutting this down. See the cute little kitty? This does look like my little kitty. And it kept that more pressure for my cut. Just so you guys know. Okay, so I'm going to weed those inner pieces out first. And then my excess around it, so everything comes off with it. Okay. That. Now my cut's already done. I told you to be super fast. I didn't even finish weeding before it was cut. So. Okay. There we go. And then we'll just take this and weed off my excess here. And so I can see it's cut all the way through, but some of these areas it's still stuck a little bit. I might need to change my blade. But what I can do is let me see if I can get up close and show you guys. I can just kind of tear it around the cut. See that? Okay. Done. And we will grab my scissors and cut this little sweater off. And I'll give you guys a little hack that I use. I did not invent this hack. I saw it on the internet. And it is really amazing for layering. And since you guys are new, I know you'll especially appreciate it because I sure do. Okay, so this still fits. Now, the great thing about transfer tape is that it's clear, so you can make sure that you have everything covered before you put it down and make sure it's going to grab your whole design. Now, the reason you want to use transfer tape is because vinyl's thin, it's pliable, and if you don't use transfer tape and try and do it by hand, you might drop it, it can wrinkle, curl, any of that stuff, and you don't want that because then you just weeded this whole beautiful design and now it's all stuck to each other and it's going in the trash. Okay, so angle it. Okay, again, push it down with my fingers. I noticed I did that in the video too, so that makes me feel good. I'm the only one who does that. Okay. And then we are going to pull it back at that 45-degree angle because no bubbles. All right, so now my little sweater here, I'm going to burnish it front, back, and then I'm going to grab some parchment paper if you are in a different country, it might be baking paper. So what I'm going to do is put my transfer tape. Now, parchment paper is non-stick, so this is like not stuck to it at all. It's just kind of hanging out there. So I have only a tiny piece of my design there. I'm going to try and show you guys as best as I can. So what I'm going to do is line my design up with using the parchment paper. The parchment paper is see-through. So then I'm going to stick this part down and I'm going to bring it up to show you guys. So you can see how I can see through there, and I can make sure it's perfectly and evenly lined up. Then that exposed piece, I stuck down because that's the adhesive that's showing. I'm going to pull this back and then carefully press this down, and it's perfectly layered and lined up. Then I'm going to do my burnishing. I'm going to peel my transfer tape back. Again, no bubbles. Now this pink was a little transparent, translucent a little bit, so you can see it took on a little bit of that blue color underneath it. Not too much, but just a little bit. You can see no bubbles, and it's perfectly lined up. I didn't mean to say it like that because it's a cat, but I did. Okay, so we'll switch back to Design Space. We're going to click Done. I'm going to open this and exit to the learning plan, and we are going to go and we're going to do our last lesson. So now this has been about an hour or so that we've been doing this. So this does take a little bit of time, but keep that in mind when you go to do this, that if you do lessons 1 and 2 and then you're like, oh, I have to go grab my kids from school, I have to make dinner, whatever you have to do, you can come back and it's going to pick up right where you left off. So there's no worries. Okay, apply vinyl to a curved surface. We are going to use the Smart Shimmer Vinyl. I'm so excited. I love the shimmer vinyl. It's beautiful and it's very smooth. It doesn't feel like glittery textured, so I love that. Okay. Now, we are going to edit text to create a decal applied to a curved surface. We pre-populated the canvas with a letter. If it's not your letter, change it now. So just double click the text box. Okay, I'll do K, and it's the Close to My Heart font. So you can also do this, like, and then resize while the lesson plan is still open. So that's cool to know too. I know we're on lesson 5 and I'm just going over that, but that's good to know too. So we're going to click through. For this cut, we'll use Smart Vinyl Shimmer, included with the Vinyl Learning Kit. Click the swatch to select the correct color, the color that matches what you have. Okay, so that's your little color swatch. I'm going to do, let's see what I have. For the shimmer, there is gold and purple. Purple it is. I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to do a J for my daughter's name because she loves purple. So this will be for her. Okay, let's make it. No matte. Continue. Smart Vinyl Shimmer. Load it. Cut it, unload it, trim it down, weed it. Okay, important, it tells you right here. Shimmer vinyl requires strong grip transfer tape to better grip the material for transfer. Cut a piece of strong grip transfer tape about the size of your design. That is the purple grid line transfer tape. So we will need to cut a new piece of transfer tape for this, but this is strong grip is still reusable. So you can keep that for other shimmer or textured vinyl products. Peel it, transfer, burnish, peel back the liner, position the decal center first on surface. You're ready to apply your design. Make sure the surface is clean and dry, then place the center of the decal in desired position. Use hands to stick decal to surface starting from center outward, which is what I showed you guys in the beginning because I didn't realize we were going to do a curved surface. Again, how I say, read ahead in your recipe, and then I didn't read ahead in my learning plan to see that there was a curved surface. So I already talked to you guys about doing that, where you put the center down and then you're going to press one side and then press the other side. So we'll just go over that again because I do have all the mugs. Okay, check that the placement is correct and use the scraper to gently smooth down one side of the decal, then the other, making sure to avoid creases or folds. Slowly peel back the transfer tape at a 45-degree angle, which is the same as we've been doing. Once fully transferred, take a moment to admire that shimmer and shine. You transfer the design onto a curved surface. High five. Which is amazing because curved surfaces are no joke. The first time I ever did one, it was a holy hot mess, like in the worst way. I so thought that I knew how to use vinyl and I knew what I was doing, and I did not. So, my design was too big, which is something that we can talk about. If your design is too big, you're going to get those wrinkles and creases and the folds. So if you do see that happening, you're like, oh, why did this do this? Why did it wrinkle? Try making your design smaller and see if that helps. It should, but make sure. Okay, we are going to, I want to show you guys. Turn off my bright 360. It's so pretty. I can tell you guys, I am not a shimmery, sparkly, shiny kind of person, glittery person. I'm just not, never have been. And when I got a Cricut, and I think it was something my daughter wanted. My daughter is very glittery, sparkly, all of that. And she wanted something, and she's like, can we make it glittery? So I said, sure. And I ordered some glitter HGV. And when I saw it, I was like, I might be a glitter person. Now I own like 100 jars of glitter for my tumblers and ornaments. And I have probably every color of HGV in glitter with all the rolls. Probably multiple rolls of each kind. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so now shimmer can be a little harder to see those cut lines. I think you can see those. You should be able to. So it can be a little harder. This is 100% where my bright 360 comes in. So I don't know if I can get you all close enough to see. Okay, so you see those cut lines now? Oh yeah. So this is where my bright 360 comes in. Glitter, anything really has never been super easy to weed. It's just not going to. I recommend, if you don't have a bright 360, which I highly recommend, it's probably one of my favorite things, just use natural sunlight. Sit by a window, put it, like, press it up against the window, but natural sunlight is my best recommendation outside of the bright 360, because that is the only other thing that I found that really gets it for you. Okay, so now that this is like by itself, you can see the shimmer. Go to your local craft store and just walk around too and see what, check out the shimmer there on display before you decide to buy it, but also buy it. Okay, I'm gonna snip my pieces here, cut that down, and then we will transfer it. I'm actually going to show you guys. I know that this is like a little more loved of a piece of transfer tape, but I'm just going to show you guys. If I burnish this like really well and try and pick it up, like it didn't even stick a little bit anywhere. I'll even actually, let me cut down a new piece and I'll show you guys. Even if it's a new piece, not one that I've used 1, 2, 3, 4 times so far, it's not strong enough to grip onto this texture. Now this is really smooth. It really does not have much of a texture, but it is enough where the regular transfer tape is just not going to cut it. Now I do. I'll show you guys. So I'm gonna burnish. See, like it's not sticking at all. Now we'll go over to those purple grid line ones and I'll show you how easy it is. But if you do buy shimmer vinyl in the store, I saved my wrapper here. Premium vinyl shimmer. This was the gold one, which you also get a sheet of in here. It's really pretty. On the back here, it tells you it comes with a 12 by 48 premium vinyl. It comes with 12 by 48 sheet of the shimmer, but it also comes with a 12x12 sheet of the strong grip transfer tape. So it will tell you on the packaging if it comes with it or not, so you know ahead of time if you need to grab some. Since it's not something that typically gets used a lot, I just recommend grabbing like a strong grip roll of it when it's on sale on the Cricut site. It's on sale right now. So I just recommend grabbing like a roll of it and just have it in your craft room. That way if you need it, you have it. I'm a big believer of if you need it, you have it. You should see my craft room, guys. I was trying to place an order the other day and I didn't have enough to meet free shipping, and I was talking to my friends and I was like, oh, what else can I order? And they were naming stuff and I was like, I have 6 of those, I have 8 of those, I have 12 of those. I was like, oh, I have a problem. So you guys can see I didn't even need to burnish from the back. It just came right off. Now something I want to note, the back of this is silver. It is not shimmery and shiny. Okay, so we've got our curved surface. I made sure my design was not too small, not too big. Press it down in the middle, go to the right, go to the left. Now it's up to you guys if you want to go left or right first. I'm right-handed, I tend to go right first. If you're left-handed, or really it's just whatever you find most comfortable. There's no right or wrong in that way. Okay, burnish it. Peel it. Now I do want to tell you guys that this strong grip is no joke, and if you try to put this onto your regular vinyl, that vinyl is not transferring to your blank. As much as you want to try, like, it is rough. So do not use strong grip unless you're using glitter, shimmer, or textured vinyl. Standard grip all the way. Okay, now let us go back to our design space. We're going to click done. We are going to exit to learning plan. I'm so excited. Okay, so we are done with the vinyl learning plan. So it's all done. So I do have the paper one, which I'll do tomorrow. And when I get the iron-on one, I'll do that. But in the meantime, you guys can go through, and this is just going to, this is the basics. This isn't even the learning kit. It's just showing you how to do basic things in Design Space. And then you'll cut a simple sticker with Smart Paper Sticker cardstock, which is by far one of my most favorite materials ever. Edit text and attach objects to create a custom decal using Smart Vinyl, and then find the perfect image to create a heat transfer project using Smart Iron-On. So all of this I recommend. I recommend doing all this, and then the learning kit. So that was the vinyl one, and you guys can see everything that we're doing and how it goes, and you can decide if that's what you want. We'll do the paper one next. I've been a paper crafter for a really, really long time. It is where my heart always is, so I cannot wait to do that one. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know.